President Pizzotti?
Here.
Clerk Jackson?
Here.
Trustee Kirby Gonzalez? Here. And I am present. So may I ask Principal Grace Chin to lead us in the pledge? Thank you. Thank you. We're moving on to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion and a second or any amendments to the agenda before us?
I move the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda is approved as is. We are going to move on to celebrations and communications. E1, Middle School Winter Sports Celebrations with Miss Stacy Hatz. Hi, Stacy. How are you?
I have Kevin Collins with me. We completed our winter sports for both boys and girls basketball. I will start with the one that I have here, which happens to be Coach Kevin Collins.
Here, click it.
Oh, okay. Now I'm waiting. Kevin coached the Bridgeway girls to victory. It'd been a while since somebody had unseated Southport, but I could lie, but I mean, they did. They had lost to them earlier in the season, and they came back and beat them in the championship. And in the boys' championship, we had a flip-flop. Southport went through the season undefeated, and they beat Bridgeway. And unfortunately, because it is now spring, we've got kids at track and at softball, and, and I'm like, and the principal, thank you, of Southport, thank you. Shane was unable to make it, but Shane was able to do, and I hate to say this, Matt, what Matt was unable to do, and he brought home a championship to Southport. So I know.
Ms. Hatz, you know that the board president has students at Southport?
No, I did not. I know we've got a couple here and a couple there, and I know we don't have any that I am aware of at Stonegate. So
It's all in good fun.
but and then hopefully we'll have the boys and girls soccer championship in the summer sometime and they'll probably have even less there because it'll be in the summer and they'll all be somewhere more fun. But I have the two champion schools with me. How about that?
Perfect. Thank you. Oh, yes. Principal Ainsworth?
And I just want to add a huge thanks from all the schools for all the work that Stacy Hatz has done on the sports program. It is incredible. She works tirelessly, and so we really wanted to thank her. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to invite Principal Grace Chin up to the podium, and we may need to lower it just a little bit, just slightly. Maybe not. And this is a report on Bridgeway Island.
Yes, thank you. It's a great day to be a bee, as we say at Bridgeway. Good evening, President Wong, school board trustees, Superintendent Luna, cabinet members, families, and guests. I'm Grace Chin, principal of Bridgeway. In the past, I would present to the board data and information on how our year went. This year, it is with pride and joy that I'm having our Bridgeway students share with you how their learning is impacting their lives. The true test of the value of the work that we do is what happens not only in the classrooms, but in other areas of learning that makes coming to school fun and enjoyable.
Highlights from this year. Bridgeway is committed to the district's mission of a culture of innovation responsive to students' needs and aspirations. We promote family involvement, strong partnerships in the community, and school pride.
Good evening, I'm Ben Trong.
And I'm Katie Hansen.
We are students from Bridgeway Island. Tonight, we are presenting the highlights of what makes Bridgeway the gateway to extraordinary possibilities for all students. Tonight, we would like to showcase how our school culture supports a culture of innovation responsive to students' needs, promotes family involvement, and strong partnerships and school pride.
We are proud to introduce the different extracurricular activities that promote school pride and innovative ways of learning, in addition to the highly effective instructional experiences in our classrooms.
Please welcome our Bridgeway cheer team and their sponsor, Ms. Monica Kaufman.
Evening, ladies.
Black and gold, go bees. Black and gold, go bees. Black and gold, go bees. Last time, black and gold, go bees. Bridgeway attack. A-T-T-A-C-K attack. Bridgeway attack. A-T-T-A-C-K attack. Bridgeway attack. Last time, A-T-T-A-C-K attack. Bridgeway attack.
Great job, girls.
We are proud to present our school band. This year, they performed at several events, including the Music in the Parks Festival, Golden Empire Music Festival, and at the River Cats game. Our band teacher is Mrs. Dolores Henson. Tonight, these students are representing our school band: Jeffrey Grexton, Douglas Wu, Ben Chong, Callie Solis, and Nick Liu.
Thank you.
One of our most successful electives is our C-STEM class that Miss Megan Schulhammer has taught for the past 8 years. Many of our students from this class have moved on to the robotics pathway at River City High School and connected it to their college career pathway. Connor Clements is here to talk about his C-STEM class and its impact on his learning.
C-STEM is an elective class offered to students who excel in math class from the previous year. It is a coding and robotics class that uses problem solving and team collaboration to complete different challenge tasks. I decided to take C-STEM because it sounded intriguing and it opens the door to interesting future career options. I really like the class because there is a lot less lecturing and we have more time to try and figure out problems on our own with the help of our classmates. We are currently preparing to compete in the annual robotics competition C-STEM Day at UC Davis in late May. I'm looking forward to continuing to study robotics and engineering at River City. We use a program called CHIDE to code in C++ with these robots and different attachments to have them complete various challenges like mazes and obstacle courses. Thank you.
Hands-on experiences outside of the classroom and CRES MESA has trickled all the way down to our primary grades. We currently have 120 students participating in our elementary teams and 23 students in our middle school team. Tonight we have Joshua Jackson, second grader from our elementary team, to share what he's learned in CRES and MESA. Teacher sponsors are Joanna Wakowski, Jen Jackson, Sarah Bowling, and Tessa H. Martinez, and parent volunteer Claudia Santos.
Is that good? Okay.
Hi, my name is Joshua. I'm in second grade and I go to school at Bridgeway. I have been participating in CREST for 2 years. In CREST, I work on projects to practice for a competition. The projects I work on are the egg drop, Capla blocks, pasta cars, an obstacle course, catapults, straw towers, and cell cars. At CREST, we mostly work in pairs, but we also work in groups. We have to listen to each other when someone has an idea to share. CREST is entertaining for kids because they get to be creative and get better at engineering.
Thank you, Joshua.
For the past 3 years, we have hosted an oral language fest to promote public speaking as well as speaking skills. Here tonight is Cassie Wintersmith to showcase a sample of this event.
Hi, I'm Cassie. I'm from Mr. Boyd's class, and I've been working with Miss Bowling and the other kids in the Oral Language Fest on a poem called True Story by Shel Silverstein, where a girl does some pretty unrealistic things that might be true and might be not, but I'll let you decide. This morning I jumped on my horse and went out for a ride, but some wild outlaws chased me and shot me in the side. So I crawled into a wildcat's cave to find a place to hide, but some pirates found me sleeping there, and soon they had me tied to a pole and built a fire under me. I almost cried. But a mermaid came and cut me loose and begged to be my bride. So I said I'd come back Wednesday, but I must admit I lied. And I ran into a jungle swamp, but I forgot my guide. And I stepped into some quicksand, and no matter how I tried, I couldn't get out until I met a water snake named Clyde, who pulled me to some cannibals who planned to have me fried. But an eagle came and swooped me up, and through the air we flied. But he dropped me into a boiling lake 1,000 miles wide. And you'll never guess what I did then. I died.
Community partnerships. Bridgeway Island School promotes community partnerships through several channels. Our students are committed to performing community service projects to enhance their understanding of how each one of them impacts the world and can bring about positive changes. We represent the National Junior Honor Society. My name is Katie Hansen, and I'm president of Bridgeway Island's National Junior Honor Society.
My name is Ben Trong. I'm the current service chair for NJHS.
NJHS is a club for students who have an interest in helping their communities. This is shown through projects such as Trick or Treat for UNICEF and Pennies for Patients.
Trick or Treat for UNICEF is a service project that we do near the end of Halloween or to Halloween. And instead of asking for candy, we have kids go and ask people for donations to help kids in Africa. These donations help kids in Africa get fresh food, water, and vaccinations that they don't have there. And this is all done with our partnership with the program of UNICEF.
Pennies for Patients is an organization in which the entire student body works together to donate money to help find cures to blood cancer. This year, we raised a little over $5,000 for the cause, and we are looking forward to working harder next year to raise even more money. NJHS has taught me a lot about what it means to be a better leader and about how I can better help my community.
We also have a partnership with Sac State University's Psychology Department with Dr. Melissa Holland. Her graduate interns have been providing mentor counseling to our students for the past 14 years. This year, they expanded their services to 2 times a week, supporting a total of 28 students.
Our newest community partnership is with the Safe Route to School West Sacramento program. This spring, we started a 10-week bike club to promote bike safety, leadership, and community service.
Family involvement. Our close partnership with our PTO has deeply enhanced our family involvement in many ways. Our PTO is committed to building a community within our families, fundraising to support our students' learning experiences through field trips and purchasing technology, and cultivating positive working relationships with the staff through appreciation meals, gifting of school supplies, and supporting staff grant requests. We are proud to have Erica Lindley, our PTO president, speaking on behalf of our PTO.
Welcome, Erica.
Hi, thank you. So Bridgeway has a history of community involvement that's been there for much longer than I have, starting with our fall carnival that I think that a larger community knows about, and our teacher appreciation efforts. We've really tried to expand our community involvement in the last couple of years by adding movie nights that we host 3 times each year. Bingo nights this year, we've hosted 2. Pancakes with Santa, which, and then Fun Fridays, which are snow cones that we sell to the students. We were really inspired by our larger community. We saw what other parent organizations were doing, and they encouraged us and really gave us that planted the seed, I guess. We really are very thankful to have the support of all of the admin, all of our principals they've always encouraged us, and even the staff on campus. Most of our events occur on Friday nights, and they stay late and are there to be there for whatever we need, and we thank them for that. But this is one of those leaps of faith. The phrase, if you build it, will they come, that runs through our minds a lot. We can plan these events, but will there be the interest? And I think the best part of, at least from my perspective, is the parent and family real involvement, and they really have gotten behind this. They're at every event, and we have great volunteers that have taken on leadership of these different programs so that they can continue to be successful and hopefully become really long-term traditions. Thank you.
The staff and students of Bridgeway Island would like to thank the school board and the Bridgeway families for supporting our school and for the great opportunities that we have to become responsible students and citizens. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you. The board would like to thank, actually, Principal Chin's leadership over the decades for Washington Unified School District, and know that this is likely your last presentation, and I feel blessed to have gotten to know you in my time here, and thank you for being more than just a B, because you've been in schools throughout the district, so you have to know that we have appreciated everything that you've done for us. Thank you. All right, we're moving on to Student Association reports. Oh, I'm lying. So this River City Avid, I'm going to invite Lindsay Sawyer up to the counter. Sorry, Lindsay.
That's okay. I actually have my co-coordinator up here for the Avid program, Susan Smith, and we brought 3 students who are going to talk to you about the program as well. So, hello, well, thanks for having us tonight. Like I said, my name is Lindsay. I'm a co-coordinator of the River City Avid program. We have about 200 students in the program for all 4 years, and this is my partner in crime, Susan Smith. There we go. So River City is a project-based program where we focus on creating a safe, supportive, family-like atmosphere with our students. We do this through team building and activities. Up there we've got pictures of them doing Pringle wheels, I think is what it was called. And they had an entire sleeve of Pringles that they had to make into a self-contained wheel. And it couldn't fall apart, and gives them those critical thinking and creative thinking skills that they're going to need after high school. We also do fundraising. These are some of our fundraisers that we've done over the years. We've sold popcorn, we've sold clothes, we've sold tumblers with the Raiders and River City logo on it. With that fundraising, we take the money and we throw it right back into the program. So one of our biggest successes that we've had over the years is the planners that we take the fundraising money for and we create with the students for the students. So these students get to tell us what they like about the planners, what they don't like about the planners, and we work with them to create it to serve their needs best. So like the layouts, the designs, do you need to know this information? Would you like it in the front? Would you like it in the back? Like where does stuff belong? And they really take that ownership of organizational skills. We have tutorials. One of the key components of AVID is 2 times a week. Basically, they're study sessions that are run by the students themselves, as well as college tutors that come in, and they have to use the Socratic method to help understand where they're struggling in classes, as well as find the answers, instead of just having them be given to them. Another thing that is a big sell, we go on field trips every year, each grade. We take them to different schools such as San Jose State or UC Merced. We go to UC Santa Cruz. We go to SF State. We've gone to Berkeley. This year we're going to Davis, and I'm taking my freshmen to American River College, and just was in talks with somebody to take them for a tour at the Sac City West Sac Center. One of the biggest successes that we have is that our students are successful in more than just AVID. So we've got students that do mathletes. We have students in JROTC. We have students in leadership, link crew. We have junior varsity athletes. We have students that can do other things, just AVID, and we're very proud to say that we help them with the skills to be successful in all of those things. For the past 2 years, we've had an 8th grade shadow day where all of the 8th grade AVID classes and then a sprinkle of students who are just interested in joining the program will come to a student-run day at River City High School. They have a 4-stop rotation where they get a student-led tour of the campus. They participate in team-building activities. They have a forum to ask current students at different levels of AVID about the program itself, and they get to practice one of the main staples of AVID, which is the Socratic seminars, the academic discussion. It has been one of our most successful things, and we really hope to keep growing the program through that. So with that said, I would like to turn it over to some of our current and former AVID students to tell you how the program has helped them. We have Lizbeth Rodriguez.
So hi, my name is Lizbeth, and I'm going to tell you guys about why AVID has helped me. So personally, it's really helped me with like my communication skills, just because although it may not seem like it, I'm actually a really shy person, especially when it comes to talking to my teachers. But AVID has given me a voice to talk to my teachers and talk to them about like certain things that they would need to do to help me learn better. So it's given me a voice to speak up in classroom, and it's prepared me for the SAT and ACT, because that's what we're doing right now. And currently in AVID, we're studying for those big major tests that will impact me in college, especially because that's what college looks at, my scores, and it's something that I really think is valuable to me. And then it's given me a lot of emotional support, just because last year I had 2 AP classes, which like hit me like a train because they were my first AP classes, and I didn't really have that emotional support. But now with AVID, I have another set of 2 AP classes, and it's a safe space for me to go to when I need to talk to Miss Smith or any of my other peers about like help, or just, like how hard AP classes are. So AVID is an amazing program. It's really helped me a lot, and I've been in AVID since I was in 6th grade, and I can honestly tell you guys that it's helped me so much, especially growing as an individual. So yeah, I'll turn it over to Shireen.
Hello, my name is Shireen Kumar, and I am a AVID 11 student. I have been an AVID student since freshman year, and I could say that I have obtained a plethora of beneficial traits that not only will help me when furthering my education, but my life. Having tutorials twice a week helps me a lot, because I also do have a lot of AP classes, and when we do tutorials, we have tutors that come from Sac State, and they help us with things that we don't understand by asking us questions, Socratic questions, to like help us. Yeah. I have become very organized in AVID. We have to have 8 notes due every Monday, and with that, it helps me understand my material clearly. I'm getting nervous. it's a family support system. I can go to Miss Smith to talk to her about anything and receive the help I need. And being with the same students since freshman year allows me to have a comfort zone and a place I feel I can succeed in. And I feel as if I'm more prepared to go into college with this class.
And then we have a former student, Carla Liao, who's going to come talk about Avid as well.
She's a graduate of 2018.
Good afternoon. So my name is Carla Liao, and then I'm currently a Sac State student with the major in biology and minor in deaf studies. And then Avid has implemented a lot throughout my education, starting from high school and then up to this point. My education, I feel like it has expanded through Avid, mostly with my agenda. I carry it with me like throughout the day. I always take notes, note take days, and then bullet point what my priorities are. So if I have an assignment due at a certain date, kind of go off that, what needs to be done, if I need to focus more on that assignment rather than an assignment that's worth 10 points. And then studying basis, studying it's so much different in college. And then I learned that starting in my biology class. I was really timid at first, like communicate with people, but then I realized like it's gonna help me and then help other students. So together I brought together a study group, and then every Fridays in the afternoons we get together, go into the library and then work together, implementing what I learned in tutorials, writing up on the whiteboard what we need help, not giving the answers, but asking questions. I've been a lot more organized. I was always an organized student, but it has helped me time manage my day. I have a lot to do, so Avid has helped me a lot with that. And also being more confident, talking to my professors when I need help. Before I was really upset and embarrassed to talk to them because I felt like I would be judged, like I felt below, like I was dumb or something. But no, talking to them has helped me a lot. Also getting tips on how to study, how to memorize things, because it's a lot of material, especially with the biology degree. Yeah. And also with other students, I feel like helping them as well has also brought them closer to me, also like a family, which I had throughout high school. So which is something really nice, and I always feel like I always have someone to talk to in college as well, so I'm not always alone. I'm not carrying the whole package on my own, on my shoulders. And then the most beautiful thing I got from Avid was tips on how to be successful, especially coming from a first-generation student and not relying as much as my parents because they didn't go through that struggle. So talking to Miss Smith throughout high school and talking to former college student friends that I have now has helped me a lot. So thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. So I'm going to talk to you about some of our other successes. First I want to talk about our class of 2018. I'll give you some numbers on some of their successes. So last year's seniors, 91% of them took AP or honors courses. 87% of them completed the A through G requirements. We had some problems with Math 3 last year. So they carried an average GPA of 3.4%, and 100% of them graduated on time. 98% of that class took the SAT or the ACT. 98% of them filed the FAFSA. 94% of them applied to a four-year university. 74 of them were accepted. We had some of those problems with Math 3. 85% of those kids, though, enrolled in a 2 or 4-year university. That was up from 78% the year before, and that's at a 69% nationally. 69% students enroll. Our students enroll much higher than the national level. 87% of those students, I'm going to go back a couple of years for talk to you about persistence. So in 2016, sorry, oops, I do have numbers for all this. There we go. So in 2016, we had 78% of our Avid students enroll in a 2 or 4 year college, and that's think that just gave you that number. That was above the 68% national level. And then 87% of those students persisted from their first year into their second year of college. 89% of those same kids persisted into a third year. So what we're seeing is our kids are challenging themselves in high school. They are taking all the courses they need to challenge themselves and be prepared for college. They apply, they get accepted, and then they stay. And they do it at least 10 to 15% higher than the national level across the board. So our kids are not only succeeding, but they're doing it better than everybody else. So those are some of our successes. We do have some challenges. So one of our challenges is retention in our program. We tend to lose kids around 10th and 11th grade. We are working to correct that by recruiting at 10th and 11th, at 9th and 10th grade to bring them into the program. So currently, in the last week alone, I've recruited in 11 new 10th graders to come into my Avid 11 program next year. Exactly. So we're giving those kids a chance to come into this great program that we have, even if they haven't been in the program before. So it's not something that kids who haven't been in the program forever can't take advantage of. So we're trying to bring that to lots of kids. Our biggest challenge, though, is keeping our male students at all of our years. Where's that graphic? So nationally, there's about 42%? No, 48%, thank you, I can't see that. Males enroll in AVID at about 48%, and we're keeping them at about 37%. So now we're about 10% below the national level. So we're always working to find new ideas to bring in and retain our male students. So that's just one of our biggest challenges.
So another one of our challenges that we have is our scheduling and our tutor funding. So we have a 4x4 schedule, and this makes it hard to fit in the single semester AVID program with their core classes. So I know as a freshman teacher, I often get students that have PE, art, and AVID, when it is really meant to challenge you in your English, biology, language classes. And that is one of our struggles, and there's no immediate resolution to that, but it is something that we're trying to fix. And then also, hand in hand with that, we schedule our tutors. We have to hire them in August, train them by September, and that doesn't usually happen. So we struggle to get the college tutors in the classroom to help these students. By the time they're ready to go, it's like October, and we're done in December. Same sort of mapping for spring term. So we definitely struggle with getting the college tutors. We now are trying to make a program with peer tutors, but again, beginning implementation stages, so we kind of struggle with that. Our last challenge that we have to talk about today is the push to include two-year colleges and the guided pathways at two-year colleges, along with the CTE, in addition to our traditional focus of 4 years. So AVID was meant to focus on getting students into four-year college and has recently switched over to focus on the two-year pathways and the CTE pathways, which is amazing and great, but the program has had to restructure, we have had to restructure, and again, with the scheduling, it is one of our biggest challenges, so.
But what I've done in my senior classes was, like this year, all of my seniors, they all applied to four-year universities, and when we're done with that, they all also applied to Sacramento City College. So that one of the big things that I focus on is not necessarily that you have to go to a four-year university. What I want for them is the opportunity to go to a four-year university when they finish. So we always talk about open doors in my classroom. We want to have all the doors open. I don't want them to get to their end of their senior year and not have choices to make. I don't want you to have to do anything. I want you to get to do something. And so they applied to four-year, they applied to two-year, and it's such the West Promise is such a good opportunity that so many of our students are taking advantage of, and it's nice for us that AVID is finally moving in that direction as well and recognizing that not all students either can afford a four-year right now or want to go on that path, so that they're also opening their minds to the different opportunities that students have. So, but we're working to work that in because we haven't always been afforded that opportunity, so we're excited about that.
And then lastly, we just wanted to share with you some of the amazing places that our seniors have gotten into this year. We have kids going to CSUs and UCs all across the state. We've got Sac State, we've got UCLA, we have San Jose State and Chico and San Francisco and UOP. So
I have 25 more of those pictures.
So we're really proud of what we're doing, and if you guys have any more questions, we could sit and talk here all day long about the AVID program. So feel free to let us know if you have any need for that. Thank you very much.
How many students are in your cohort? right now?
200.
200, wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
So AVID is a national program. It's actually international, but our numbers match the national demonstration schools. So we have a pretty solid program. We're very proud of that. So.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I just have one quick question. How many females are in the program? How many males of the 200?
I don't have those numbers for you.
Oh,
I could get them, but I don't have them at the top of my head. I think they're actually, no, they're not in the,
No,
those are
I would
historical data.
75-25.
Yeah, probably.
Like 75-25 is the percentage to that. So we have a 75% female, about 25% male. You know, skewed in either direction based on the grade.
Yeah.
So the higher you get, the more, like 11th and 12th grade, you're going to have more females. And like in my freshman class, I have maybe 7 males out of a 30-person class. So.
Okay, thank you.
And all first generation?
The majority, yes.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you. All right. Moving on to student association reports now. Ms. Skylar Bean, I think we are queuing up your PowerPoint.
Good evening. My name is Madison Lampy. I go to Washington Middle College High School. I'm filling in for Skylar Breen to present the student board member report. Elkhorn Village Elementary. Elkhorn celebrated their annual STEM Day on the 6th. 150 students and families engaging in various science-based activities. They also had a magician treating families in some great fun. Westfield Village Elementary. Westfield had their first information night on their new learning lab model for special education. They had an outdoor assembly for bike safety provided by Walk Sacramento. Students received honors for the second trimester. Students have been working on mindfulness with their social worker, Maria Hake. Yolo High School. Students applied and were interviewed by a panel for the West Sacramento Rotary Club Scholarship Opportunity. Winners will be announced at their graduation on June 4th. Yolo has a handball tournament planned for Friday, April 12th. SBAC testing begins on April 23rd. Yolo also has an earthquake drill planned for April 30th. River City High School report, athletics. Swim. The River City swim team is coming to an end of its season. This weekend at Grant High School, everyone is encouraged to come. Boys golf. Golf team is on a 3-0 streak. Boys tennis. The RC boys tennis team is 6-3 in the Metro League and 12-3 overall. Track. The Raiders are running their first all-Metro meet this Wednesday. Boys volleyball. The team has shown some real progress over the past couple weeks. Softball. Weather has made it hard to stay in the field. They have a 4-0 record in league and on an 8-game winning streak. Baseball. They're 8-6 overall and 4-3 in league. Washington Middle College High School. We are currently having Spirit Week. Our leadership is throwing our first ever picnic day tomorrow, and we are having a Sac City Transfer Center rep come as our guest speaker tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Moving on to WSTA reports. Don Stoffer.
Good evening. I frequently come up here and I talk about communication, and so there have recently been some proposals and ideas to improve the link between Elkhorn and Washington Middle College. As Elkhorn is an AVID distinguished school, speaking of AVID, and Middle College also has a strong AVID program, and also there have been proposed changes that will have 6th and 7th grade at Elkhorn's teaching as a core program. These proposals will affect staff, they'll affect kids, they'll affect scheduling, they'll affect a lot about how Elkhorn operates. And I'm happy to hear that there's now going to be a lot of communication between all those affected to see what and how all of this can be incorporated and keep Elkhorn the great school it is. I want to talk about safety. So safety issues have recently been consuming more and more of my time as the chapter president. And to summarize in one sentence, teachers do not feel their concerns are being taken seriously, and that classroom and playground environments are, as a consequence, suffering. For instance, the new guidelines that were discussed at the last meeting have yet to be distributed to teachers. Some of the issues going on are beyond the district's control. For example, I had a conversation with local firefighters earlier this week, and they were telling me that the types of calls they get involved in these days involve behaviors, emotional issues, and types of trauma that they're not seeing or did not see on a regular basis before. And we know that some of our kids come from these environments, so we're seeing bigger and more problems than we have in the past, and that's a bigger societal issue. The district can control one aspect of what's going on, though. A decision was made earlier this year to eliminate the existing opportunity program for kids with behavior and emotional needs. I mean, clearly that program had issues and needed to change. But what has happened is this has led to an increase of kids who would have been in that program into our regular education classes. And so teachers who are already dealing with new curricula, the rigorous curriculum design, full inclusion of special education students are now having to deal with kids with special behavior and emotional problems. Speaking on behalf of our classroom teachers, I can say they're frustrated and exhausted. So I'm urging the district to take a close look at putting together a program that will help our students who have special emotional and behavioral needs so that they can be as successful as they possibly can. This week, WSTA and Washington Unified Negotiating Teams met and were able to come to an agreement on our PE minutes and waiver issue, and things are now on track for us to meet in May and work on our open articles. The Gender Health Club at River City, which is a club that supports students who have gender identity issues, was recently awarded a grant from CTA. I'm excited about this both because this club helps our campus be a more inclusive and supportive place for all of our students, but also because it's great to hear that some of our teacher dues are being used for this purpose. So it's a nice warm fuzzy for our school. Preston, I want you to know that the members of the Washington or West Sacramento Teachers Association in the Washington community support you and your teachers in Sacramento, and that we support your efforts to achieve a contract that is good for your kids, your students, and your schools. And with that, thank you very much, and hope everybody has a great spring break.
Thank you. Do we have anyone from CSEA here? If not, we will move forward with an update from CSEA. We are moving on to public comments, and before that, I'm going to read a lengthy statement, so bear with me. At this time, members of the public may address the board on the topics of our board agenda, in addition to the topics that are under the jurisdiction of the board and are not on the agenda, although the board by law may not take action at this meeting. The board may limit the total time for public input on any topic to 20 minutes, unless it chooses to waive the item for a particular item. Individual speakers may be limited to 3 minutes to comment on any topic. Public comments consisting of individual charges, complaints, or derogatory remarks about any district employee are requested to be submitted in writing to the administration in accordance with the district's complaint procedure. We do recognize that for a lot of people, commenting before the board and the audience and the people watching at home on television is a nerve-wracking experience. So to try to make that as easy as possible, we do ask that there not be any applause or booing or catcalling or other demonstrations to maintain a civil discourse here in the chambers. The board respects the rights of the members of the public to speak to us regarding matters on the agenda and other matters within the jurisdiction of the board. However, it is important for members of the public to recognize that comments regarding students other than the speaker's own children made during public board meeting may be legally actionable as a violation of student privacy. Both state and federal law prohibit the board and others from discussing confidential student information in open session. To this end, be advised that if you reference a student's name other than your own student, you will be out of order and your comments may not be protected by the privileges that protect public speech. You could be found liable for such comments in legal proceedings. Furthermore, it is important for the public to understand that negative or derogatory comments made against district employees or others, even those made in a public board meeting, may be actionable civil defamation. As such, the board reminds the public that the district has existing board policy that allows the public to lodge a complaint against a district employee. This policy provides a comprehensive procedure for reviewing and responding to public complaints. The process provides a more thorough opportunity to be heard than is allowed under the open meeting law that governs this meeting. All right, that's always a mouthful. So, Ms. Jen Grexton, can I invite you to the podium? There's music accompanying you. There's music accompanying.
I know. My name is Jen Grexton, and I'm a proud parent of one of the Bridgeway kids who played for us tonight, who's now out listening to the jam. I'm also a River City parent, and I spoke at the board meeting on March 14th about the need for a performing arts venue. Later that night, the board had a discussion involving equity and how to handle such a request. This is just a small portion of your conversation, and I'm paraphrasing a little, but I believe it was Trustee Alcala who said, "We had one of the parents talk about how our children are in band and they wanted a good performing arts center, which is wonderful, but some of our other schools don't have instruments in them." So it wasn't that this one parent was oblivious. She understood her world as she saw it and what she felt was necessary to give our students a great opportunity. But someone from another school where they don't have these instruments would see it in a very different light for a request to be made like that. Now, to be fair, I had time to prepare my very nerve-wracking 3 minutes. And you all had to absorb everything presented that night and respond in the moment. But I feel it's important to clear up any misperceptions that may remain. It's my understanding that all schools have band instructors and an instrument supply, but you're absolutely right, that would have been unacceptable. And the request, the need for an appropriate performing arts venue has never been for the benefit of one school or one group of students or one art even. As boosters, we want this not just for the kids and programs we supplement, but for all of the other high school musicians, singers, speakers, actors, and dancers who will perform there, and for all the younger students who can enjoy their own performances as they journey to River City. Because all these students are ours. It's why our outreach to the K-8s has steadily increased. It's why we continue to host the annual instrument selection nights for students starting in 4th grade, why we visit their campuses, mentor them, have joint concerts, work after school and on weekends and on breaks to include them in our programs. Families can do a lot on our level, but site construction is well beyond chocolate bars and crab feeds. We need you. One of our programs, the Big Band, just finished their competitive season last weekend, and in back-to-back events Friday and Saturday, they earned unanimous superior ratings, the highest possible, with several musicians earning additional honors. 2 days prior, the same group performed the same songs at home in the best venue available, the gym. And it was an echoey, muddy mess. The elements that earned them top honors were nearly impossible to identify in that setting. It's time to get an appropriate venue back on the drawing board. Supporting programs today and including a long-promised performing arts venue in 20-year plans are not mutually exclusive. As I see it in my world, this isn't for my kids because school's going to be in the rearview mirror by then. But the next group of amazing students will benefit greatly from it, and the next group, and the next group. We want to see that happen for all of our students, and we ask that you ensure that it is included in plans moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don Stoffer?
Hello again.
Hello.
Our very own Nakiba Gregory asked me to mention something to the board tonight. She's a member of the equity team for the Capital Service Center, which is the regional group of teachers for the capital and surrounding counties. So she's inviting everybody to the screening of the movie My Name is Khan from 1 to 4:30 across the street in the Black Box Theater on Saturday. Snacks and raffle are included. It does require a RSVP with Eventbrite, and she's saying to find the Eventbrite RSVP, you do a Google search for Eventbrite and then put in West Sac teachers and it'll pop right up. And she's inviting everybody to attend. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, can I get some clarification? There are two black boxes. Is the one at the,
One right across the
street, okay.
upstairs on the second floor.
okay, very good,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
If you also would like to find it, it's also on my Facebook page.
Okay.
If you would like to find it. So moving on to, there's no public hearing to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to move unless there's, did I get a sec? Huh? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. No public hearing, no information discussion items, action items, and we are ahead of schedule. K1, approval of the 2019-2020 Board of Education meeting calendars that we approved a year in advance.
Good evening, President Wong, Board of Trustees. This evening, we'd like for the board to review and, with your pleasure, approve the meeting calendar for the next school year so that it's able to be publicized in advance and also for your calendars.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion or changes or requests? Do I have a motion?
My only I'm sure that this has already been looked at, but I didn't look at the CSBA. And I know that's still a topic for discussion if we attend that or not, but if there's a conflict there. I don't think there is.
Nope.
All right. So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have now a 2019-2020 calendar. Clerk Jackson is grooving right now. So, K2, adoption of Resolution 1819-26, support of applications for eligibility determination and funding in school facility program when bond authority is exhausted.
It's a really long title for a resolution.
It is quite the
Good evening,
title.
trustees and community and colleagues. So we are simply asking for your permission to apply for authority for construction if the state ever refunds that authority. So what we're doing is asking for permission to get in line, even though that we know there's no money available, so that when there is money available, we are eligible for it.
That is the question I didn't ask, because we know that we're getting in line a little bit late.
Yeah.
So, any questions or discussion or? I move. Have a motion? Do I have a
Second.
Second? All right. This is a resolution. Looking at Clerk Jackson, do you have a question?
No.
Okay. So, roll call vote. Vice President Pizzotti?
Aye.
Clerk Jackson?
Aye.
Trustee Kirby Gonzalez?
Aye.
Trustee Alcala?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
There is no board governance, and now we're moving on to board and superintendent comments. Trustee Alcala?
Actually, Don Stoffer already announced the film that is being shown. So that was what I was going to do this evening. Just wanted to also mention, I went to a wonderful event for Dolores Huerta. Yesterday was her 89th birthday, and it was very well attended. It was the first anniversary that of Dolores Huerta Day was signed into law last year, and it was wonderful to see all the young people there, all the young women who have an incredible role model, someone who gives so much of herself, who gave of her community, and there was a lot of self-sacrifice, by Dolores, as well as her family. They sometimes had to be without her. But the exhibit's still on, so I just want to encourage, if there are any field trips, or even if the students want to go on their own, she is a living icon, and she is 89 years old. So Dolores does visit Sacramento occasionally, and I'll try
today.
Yeah. Yes,
she was.
yes,
I was there.
she was.
at a hearing.
Yeah, she spent the night with us last night. So, and that's, I guess, the only announcement I was going to make was I encourage everyone to see the movie. I think we really need to have our community support such films. It creates a lot of cultural appreciation and understanding of what others go through. Thank you.
Great. Trustee Kirby Gonzalez?
Thank you. I don't have any committee updates. I did want to share, although I guess this could also go future agenda items, but I was shared a proclamation template for school boards recognizing the first Friday in June as being National Gun Violence Awareness Day, because this very much impacts us, unfortunately, in school districts. I recommend that we bring that forward, and so I will share that proclamation. And then I joined the Southport Unity Club. I was thankful to be invited to that, and it was a great group of kids. The Unity Club began with a student saying that she felt that there needed to be a little bit more inclusive environment. She was worried about some of her friends feeling left out, and it was just a really great group of kids. I don't want to get into personal pieces, so I'll stop. But I'll just say that it was clearly an important place for children to be, and I appreciated being there. One of the things that they shared a few things that they think could make our district better. One was we heard this evening about the 8th grade shadow day at the high school that River City does. They talked about having a shadow day at the K-8s and having kids shadow maybe an 8th grader before you move up, because sometimes that can look a little scary, a little nervous to move into the rotation. And so doing a shadow they thought would be very helpful and across the district. I also should share, I forgot to talk about this at the last meeting, and I want to thank Southport also, because I got to go along to Amazon and get to see their robotics, and that was part of their STEM club that they do. And it was pretty incredible getting to see the robotics that are happening there. And the kids were looking at it in terms of what programming might they be doing one day. And it was a really phenomenal to look at it from that lens, so I appreciated that. I want to say, too, that thank you to all of the schools across our district for open house, and I really wish, I think all of us do here, that we could get around to every single school and classroom. I know it's an evening where teachers and students are very, very proud of all of the work that they have done, and so thank you to all of them, and I really wish that we could be at all of them. And this evening, we accepted the resignation for Renee Collins, and I wanted to draw attention to that. Our district is a better place because of the work that Renee Collins has done. We have been very, very fortunate to have her here. And I recognize that this was a reduction on our part as well in terms of the positions. And it's with a heavy heart that we accept her resignation, and with a lot of gratitude for all that she has done for our district. And wish her well in her next endeavors. And then as an early heads up, on May 9th, I will be at Outdoor Education. And so I hope to be virtually present, but I will not be physically present on May 9th.
Thank you. Clerk Jackson?
Yeah, I'd like to, I actually had the pleasure of attending the movie night at Bridgeway Island last week. And also noticed that they actually had one at Elkhorn the same night. And that I think those things are, if you haven't gone to one, I would highly recommend you attend, because it's a lot of fun. It's a good family fun, be able to get out with the kids and be able to sit and pretty much watch a movie on the floor in the cafeteria or what have you. But the kids really get a kick out of it, and it's just a good night out. And so I was very glad to see that they also had one at Elkhorn on Saturday when I went by. I took my daughters and I went over to Elkhorn and partake in the STEM day that they had there. And I tell you what, that thing was pretty doggone impressive. You know, they did an absolutely fantastic job with that program. My hat's off to Miss Marin, Miss Medina, and Miss Wright for putting together a absolutely fantastic program. We got there late towards the end because my daughters had golf practice, and we came right over right after golf practice. And I tell you what, my 3 daughters just had a ball there, and it was awesome to see how well supported that was by the community. I mean, the community turnout there was just fantastic. The kids there were absolutely amazing. You couldn't tell, you wouldn't know that my kids weren't students at that school from the different activities and the engagement and with all the children on the Elkhorn campus. And, it would just make me proud because it just really shows that the great things they have going on over at that campus. And I walked away from that day feeling very proud of that school and that environment and that community because it was an awesome day, to say the least. And then I'm sure as everyone knows, it's upsetting. It's, oh man. The things that, I will say this, I'll just leave it at this, is that I'm proud of the work that's going on in this district. And I can appreciate the respect that this district shows to its teachers and the working relationships that not only exists between the district office and the school board. And not that it's perfect, because it's not. I mean, we have our disagreements, and which is, I think that's a part of educating. Everyone has their own different opinions. But I think in my short time on the board, I think one of the things that I've realized is that, at least here, is that does not get in the way of the work that needs to get done. And unfortunately, in the district that I work in, that is not the case. And to work, and it's upsetting for me because it's professed that we're all on the same team and we're all working towards the same goals, but the lack of the amount of disrespect and unappreciation for the teachers in that district, frankly, it's embarrassing. It makes me embarrassed to say that I actually work in that district. It makes me embarrassed to say that I'm a part of that district because we're not on the same team. And I'm just glad to see how teachers and administrators can work together when they actually do want to do what's best for the kids. Because if that were happening where I work, we wouldn't have been on strike today. It's just that simple. So I, thank you to Superintendent Luna. Don Stauffer, I appreciate the work that you guys do here in this district, and I will tell you this, and I will say this, is that as long as I'm on the board, you guys will not have to worry about having a contract and then having the district or the superintendent try and back out of your contract. That won't happen if I'm on this board. I can guarantee you that. And with that, lastly, I would like to say, to wish a strong community supporter and lover of the schools in this community, Mr. Larry Langford, a very speedy recovery and his double knee replacement surgery. I don't think I've ever known anyone who's had both knees replaced at the same time. But Larry, get well soon, my friend. I know you're a strong guy, but there's no way in the world I would have ever done that. So.
All right. Vice President Pizzotti.
You know, I would actually just like to say this about the, Sac City teacher strike. I'm wearing red for Ed today, and actually my union did as well, because we believe strongly in supporting your brothers and sisters that do strike. And they understand that you don't make that decision lightly. It is a very difficult decision. So I want to recognize what you're going through in your district and with your job. I mean, this is your livelihood, and how much you care enough to actually take this action. So we understood it, and the people at the California Association of Psychiatric Technicians understood it as well. I'd also like to echo the comments made by Trustee Kirby Gonzalez. We're going to sorely miss Renee Collins. I do understand that tough decisions had to be made, but she was an outstanding employee who just brought so much good to the district, and I just can't, that was a decision that really made me toss and turn at nights about. So that was a tough one for us. And then the points raised by Ms. Grexton are well taken, in my opinion. Since all of the students in the districts kind of funnel to one main school at the high school, a venue like that would certainly benefit all of our students. It wouldn't just be one set of students over another set. It would be all of them. And, I'm a pretty big supporter of the arts and band, and I would actually like us to, at some point, consider into our discussions going forward and our planning for a venue that might be more hospitable to having our arts performed. And with that, I just want to remind people that the 2x2 will be on April 30th.
29th?
No, it's Tuesday, April 30th, I think.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Great. Thank you. Wow. Thank you to my board colleagues for being transparent and open with everything, so I appreciate that. I had the privilege, along with Vice President Pizzotti, to interview a second set of freshmen for the River City interviews, and it's always a really, really lovely time because I actually see the progression from the beginning and the end, and they walk in really nervous, but our teachers are doing right by Vice President Pizzotti is going, oh, yes. We do it, I feel like you and I do it at the same session, every single session, so, and always moved, touched, and inspired by it. So that was definitely very, very worthy. I came back in the middle of hearings to go and do one interview and come back just because I needed it, given everything that's happening right now with work, and very uplifting. I also had, on the same day, the opportunity to be part of a Parent Institute for Quality Education panel, where the parents at Westmore Oaks can I say grill Superintendent Luna? They grilled us for a little bit. They had 6 very, very tough questions and held us accountable to a number of things, from school climate to bullying to parent-teacher conferences. And Principal Faulkner, if you're watching this, she was a champ. She was a champ. She knew her stuff. She knew her community, and was very, very responsive to the concerns that were raised. So I was very, very impressed with her. And was very, even more so impressed with the parents there. I think it's the largest group of fathers in PK. So that was also very exciting, and they wanted to come back and support the school. So it's a really great way to create kind of the volunteer base that, and I know, Trustee Alcala, you're always interested in kind of bringing that cultural aspect, so making sure that the community's involved in the schools. So that was a really good way to engage. Well, PK generally is a good way to engage communities. And I thought that one of the parents kept asking, can we bring this to more parents? Can we grow this? Can you all come back to us so that we can bring 100 parents and you can answer our questions? And we said yes, and maybe that's something, a parent university, we can build into future parent universities or things like that, maybe at each school district, school site, something to think about, just because it makes me a better school board member when we are actually on those panels and hearing what the parents need. What else? So there was also TEDx at Southport this week. I did not attend, but I am mentioning it because there was an Elkhorn parent who was wondering how they could bring it to Elkhorn. So I know there's one champion who does it at Southport every single year, but then the thought came between PK and an Elkhorn parent saying, how do we bring this to my school? Is how are we actually supporting parents across the district to learn from one another, to bring things like Amazon or TEDx or after-school programming to other campuses. So that's something that has been on my mind for quite a bit. And shout out to my daughter who took 3rd place in the Southport Spelling Bee this morning. The 2nd year in a row. So from a 3rd to 5th grader, as a 4th grader, she took 3rd place. So shout out to Genevieve. All right, those are my comments. Superintendent Luna, are you ready for yours?
Thank you, President Wong, Board of Trustees, staff, and guests. This evening, we have quite a few shout-outs. So I'll begin first by celebrating all of our administration and staff for their hard work and just creating a beautiful evening of open house across our district. Here, you're greeted by the Stonegate School Band, even though it's on the blacktop. But let me tell you, it's really nice to walk onto a campus and the bands are welcoming all the parents and the students, all the guests while you walk in. And so that's really always very nice. I want to also thank our families for coming out to support our schools and trusting us with your children's education. It was just a really celebratory night all around. Heading over to Southport, I ran into a bunch of princesses, so of course I had to take a picture with all the princesses. So they had a princess booth, and it was a last-minute thing. They didn't think anybody was going to go to it, but that was the most popular place to stop. And so it was just a lot of fun over at Southport. They had lots of food, and families were just celebrating together. I love open house because open house is in the spring. Let me show you why I like open house. This is over at Stonegate. So you go into students' classrooms, and usually they show a lot of writing. So you can enter the room, you don't have to say anything, and you get to see, all the learning that's happening across the classes. So what I love about open house is you always get to see the progress and the growth. And so this is a fall writing prompt from student. And then what they do is they tack on each month and the different prompts that they do. And then what you get to see is the growth from the fall to the spring. And do you see the difference, right? So there is great progress happening in our classrooms. This is the same student's work. This was her writing journal, so that the students and the parents themselves can see progress. This is what I love about open house. I want to thank trustees Kobe Pizzotti and President Wong for attending our mock interviews for our freshman class. It's always a great time to be able to go and meet our freshmen, and it's just a good time to see the differences of our students also, and their dreams, and how they articulate their thoughts and their processes. We have teachers that take their time during their prep time to come and do part of the interview. We had some city leaders, Justine Jimenez was there. And so there's just lots of different people who come out because they just want to be in front of the kids and meet them. And it's always a special part of the day. So thank you, trustees, for taking time to do that. It was really great. We talked a lot about AVID tonight, and it's intentional because we designate money in our LCAP specifically towards AVID. And it costs a lot of money to train our teachers in AVID. And we invest in that because our children get great strides through the teacher training. And you see the passion that it builds in our teachers. Mr. Malik I think has already left our meeting tonight, but one of the reasons why I wanted to keep bringing AVID up is because when I visited his class in first term, I was reading a final project from one of his students. And the deep reflection, the dreams of the student's future, and just the way that it allows the teacher to connect to the student at a deeper level is really what AVID is all about. And that is what accelerates their path towards a dream of college and a bright career. So we invest in AVID because we believe in it, and our teachers are doing a phenomenal job carrying the torch for it. So I did attend the TEDx over at Southport. And I have to tell you that I stood in the back of the cafeteria and I sobbed my eyes out. Because this TEDx right there in this slide is a former River City High School student who came back. She just finished her freshman year at UC Irvine and came back to do her TEDx talk. This is Maya Dua. Now, we met Maya in 2016, little junior or sophomore, and giggly, with her girlfriends. And we remember Maya because Maya is an inventor and creator. In 2016, she built the Seeing Eye Bot, a cost-effective robot that could replace seeing eye dogs for the visually impaired. This won her the grand prize in Marvel's Captain America Civil War STEM Challenge. She had an internship, a paid internship, to work with Marvel Studios because of her invention. She gave a shout out to Mr. Fagu, who was her teacher, because Mr. Fagu opened the gates, opened his classroom during spring break to come and let them invent and create together. Maya has since worked with companies such as Microsoft and We Day events in which she advocates for young girls to join STEM for creative solutions and to pave a brighter future for all women. She's amazing. Her language, her presentation was that of a professional scientist. Her connection to the students at Southport were not about her robot that she created, but more importantly, that the human part of service and interaction is just as important or more important than creation of robots. And so she had a really good presentation challenging the students to think, would it be okay if robots took the place of human beings? It was phenomenal. I had to cry. I could only cry because she's a product of our district. She will receive a Pulitzer Prize one day, and we will be able to say we were a part of her because of our education. I also wanted to share with the board that Washington Unified School District was represented in front of 500 people in Sacramento. And this conference, Mayor Cabaldon and Dr. Art Pimentel and I were a panel in a general session for the California Community College Association for Occupational Education. And this particular conference brought together community college staff who each year come together to talk about how do CTE programs, how does vocational education, how does college after two-year programs or after high school affect our students. And we were well represented because I got to really talk about our continuum of college and career readiness that starts with our preschool, goes through our CTE pathways. We talked about our paid internships in our district for our students so that they learn real world learning experiences. So right now, our students are preparing by putting in all their applications for summer internships this summer. And we are hosting many interns this year, again, and we are also trying to connect them to the city so that they get some city government and public service. Exciting time. Wanted to also let the board know that we held our school safety task force, our first meeting, which was amazing. I honestly didn't know how it was going to turn out. And so what we had was a committee that was made of parents, teachers, campus safety monitors, and administration. I am a participant in this task force. Our Yolo County Office of Education is facilitating our conversations so that we can then create plans moving forward that are sustainable and long-term. And so I want to give a shout out to our county office, but I also want to let the board know everybody walked away with a sense of we are going to own this and we're going to be able to come up with some amicable solutions that are good for our students and for our staff and for our entire district. We will be setting up another meeting before school ends because what we did was we categorized concerns in different groups. We all broke up into groups. Now, in taking those categories, we will be going into a process of what we call determining root causes of what those concerns are. So it's good, deep work, and it will be sustaining and lasting for our district. Thank you, President Wong, for attending our PK graduation this week and also for sitting there for the hour and a half of being on the panel with very difficult questions. So I just wanted to reiterate that last year we had 6 graduates from our K-8 schools over at Westmar Oaks. This year there were 17 graduates, and more importantly, it was the first time we had 7 fathers graduating in the PK program. Last year there were no men that attended PK. This year we had 7 fathers. And so PK is working in our district. And so we're excited to bring it back next year to a bigger forum and get more parents involved.
And we'll be prepared for the panel.
Yes, we will try to be more prepared for the panel. Just a couple of reminders for our parents who are watching. So SBAC testing is coming. It's right on our doorstep. So we will be going on to spring break next week, but our SBAC testing window starts April 22nd and ends May 10th. Now, that doesn't mean that it ends May 10th. It actually ends to the end of the school year, but we want to make sure that we set aside time to do makeups for anybody who is absent or needed additional time. So my 2 cents is everybody come to school. Parents, please send your children to school. And secondly, parents, please help our kids get rest and sleep to do our best. So that means we need to turn off the computers and turn off the TV and make the kids go to bed a little bit earlier so that they're fresher in the morning. And lastly, we are on spring break next week. Just a reminder to the public, our schools and our district office is closed to the public, but we will return to school bright and refreshed on Monday, April 22nd. Thank you. That's my update tonight.
Thank you, Superintendent Luna. All right, so moving on to future board agenda items, board governance session, and we're still trying to find a time that works for everybody. Policy and regulations for Washington Unified School District ACES, update and adult education programs, To be updated, the LCAP plan is in June, and budget adoption. Is there anything else? I have down the proclamation for the first Fridays to be acknowledged as a gun prevention. So is there anything else that folks have to this growing list of future board agenda items? No?
Can I just ask a question about revisiting our schedule and what that will look like, or how we will come up with a date, when we're looking at, what month we're looking at?
So I'm trying to figure that out with Superintendent Luna and Ruth to figure out what the best timing is.
What we'll do is, again, send out a set of dates.
Okay.
Because we want to be inclusive of everybody and having everybody be participants. So we're trying to find a date for all 6 of us to be able to attend with our busy schedules.
Are folks opposed to Saturday? I know we've done Saturday before.
No, I think,
Saturday will work.
yeah.
For the entire board?
Depends on what Saturday.
Okay, depends on which
That's the fair
Saturday.
point, too. Yeah.
I have a good babysitter. I'll share.
Okay. It is an open session item, so maybe we'll just bring all our kids and into room 75 and have them play.
together
So,
and it'd be a
okay,
big
we'll figure it out. If everyone,
send some
if no
dates
one's
out.
opposed to a Saturday, maybe we'll start looking at a Saturday.
Yeah, it just depends
We
what
haven't
date.
done that.
We'll send those out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we are moving into closed session right now, and there is a comment regarding closed session item. Pat Flint, can I invite you to the podium?
Thank you. I just have, I guess, a question. Why was closed session moved to the end of the meeting this time when you've always had it at the beginning? And is the start time for your meetings going to be 6 p.m. from now on? Or is it just something that's happened the last 2 meetings? So thank you.
Okay. So I actually forgot to make the announcement of what we're talking about in closed session item, which is Government Code 54957, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release. All right. We are moving into closed session.